Have you ever sat alone and quietly asked yourself, am I really good enough? Or do I even matter in this world? These questions may sound small, but deep inside, they strike at the very root of how we see ourselves. Almost everyone faces them at some point, even if they never admit it out loud. Think of a person who works so hard every single day, giving their time, their energy, and their heart, yet still feels ignored, still feels unseen, still feels not enough. This is not just their story, but the story of many of us. Isn't it painful when the world outside celebrates everyone else, but inside your heart whispers, maybe I am worthless? It is in these quiet battles, where no one else is watching, that the heaviest struggles of human life truly begin. Questions of worth, questions of meaning, and questions of belonging. And today, in this journey together, we will carefully open this heavy box and see it through the wisdom of Buddhism, where each teaching reveals that no life, not yours, not mine, is ever worthless. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, a space created to touch hearts and light the path of understanding. It means a lot that you are here, listening with openness. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribes. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. It takes only a second, but it gives us strength to keep creating more thoughtful content for you. And maybe for someone else who silently needs this message as much as you do. Wouldn't it feel good to give someone else hope? Now, let us move into the heart of today's talk. Buddhism teaches us that feelings of worthlessness come not from truth, but from illusions. The belief that you are only valuable if you achieve more, earn more, or win more, is a trap created by the mind and by society. The truth is, your worth cannot be bought or measured. Every breath you take is a precious expression of life itself. When the Buddha spoke about suffering, he also spoke about freedom, freedom from the endless chains of self-judgment. Just as a lotus rises unstained from muddy water, you too can rise above the mud of doubt and shame. Worth is not in perfection, but in presence. Worth is not in how others see you, but in the reality that you are alive, capable of compassion, and able to transform. This is just the beginning. As we move forward, we will gently uncover why you are not worthless, why these thoughts appear, and how you can replace them with clarity, peace, and deep self-respect. Stay with this journey, because by the end of it, you may begin to see a truth your heart has long craved to hear. You were never worthless at all. The mind, like a restless monkey, never stops its chatter. It jumps from one thought to another, and often, those thoughts carry weights that burden your spirit almost without your knowing. Among these thoughts, none is heavier or more harmful than the one which tells you you are less than you truly are. The thought of self-judgment. It whispers, you are not enough. You should be more. You have failed. And on it goes, like an unkind companion walking by your side, darkening your path. But listen closely, dear one, for these thoughts are no more real than the shadows cast by a passing cloud. They are illusions, born from misunderstandings, fears, and the stories we have been told or told ourselves over time. The Zen way teaches us to see these illusions clearly, not to fight or suppress them, but to gently observe them as you would watch clouds drifting slowly across the vast sky without grasping or pushing them away. Imagine yourself sitting beside a flowing river. The water runs fast, carrying with it bits of leaves, twigs, and unseen dust. The river is like your thoughts, constant flowing, sometimes turbulent. You do not need to jump into the river or stop it. Instead, You sit quietly on the bank and watch. The river continues, but you remain calm and steady. This is the heart of mindfulness, the art of watching your mind without losing yourself in its movements. When you judge yourself harshly, it is as if you are diving into that rushing river, struggling to hold on to everything. Your mistakes, your regrets, your fears. You feel yourself drown in the weight of it all. Yet, when you learn to step back, to become the observer, you see something beautiful happen. The heavy thoughts lose their grip, they float away, and you begin to breathe freely again. In the practice of Buddhism, the Buddha taught about anatta, or no self. This is not a cruel lesson trying to deny who you are, but a gentle reminder that the self you hold on to, the fixed image, the constant critic, the voice in your head, is not your true being. Instead, your true self is like water, ever-changing, fluid, connected to everything. When you cling to a harsh idea of yourself, insisting, "I must be this way or that way," you close the door to freedom. You build walls around your heart and keep out the light. Let me tell you a story, a teaching from the Zen tradition. There was a student who came to his master, burdened by feelings of failure. He said, "Master, I feel worthless because I cannot do what others do. I cannot meet the expectations I see around me. How can I find peace?" The master took a small clay pot and broke it with a gentle snap. Then he said, "This pot is broken, but it is still clay. You are not your mistakes. You are the clay, a living, changing, beautiful substance ready to be formed anew." In this moment, the student understood, worthlessness is not who you are. It is a story told by the mind that can be rewritten. When you see yourself through the eyes of your own compassion, not judgment, the weight begins to lift. But why does the mind tell such unkind stories in the first place? It is often because you have allowed the world outside to define your value. From childhood, many are taught that worth comes from achievement, from being better than others, from fitting into certain roles. Yet, these are like mirages in a desert, beautiful illusions that vanish when examined closely. Buddhism invites us to look beyond these illusions with the practice of vipassana, or clear seeing. You learn to look deeply at the origins of your suffering, including the self-judgment that tells you you are worthless. This seeing is not harsh or blaming, but full of curiosity and kindness. What thought or past memory triggers this feeling? Can you hold it gently without pushing it away? Can you breathe with it and let it soften? Over time, this practice transforms your relationship with yourself. Instead of fearing your inner critic, you begin to understand that it is only one small part of your mind, not the whole truth. You can choose to respond with love, with patience, and with acceptance. The Zen master often says, "Do not believe everything your mind tells you. It is like a mischievous child that loves to tell stories, some true, some false. Watch it, laugh kindly, but do not let it take the steering wheel." When you learn to sit silently enough, the mind will slow down, the harsh voices will quiet, and a deeper, calmer voice will emerge. This voice is your heart speaking gently, reminding you of your infinite value. You see, outside of all stories, all comparisons, all judgments, your life is a miracle. You breathe, you feel, you exist, and that alone is more than enough. You are not here to prove your worth to anyone. Your presence itself is a gift to this vast universe. Many people carry burdens they never speak aloud. The secret voice telling them they are not worthy of love, of kindness, or of happiness. Yet, In the Buddhist teachings, there is one clear truth. All beings have Buddha nature, the potential for awakening, for compassion, and for peace. This nature does not depend on your accomplishments. It is your birthright. The path to freeing yourself from the illusion of self-judgment is through one step at a time, with gentleness and courage. When you catch yourself thinking, "I am not enough," pause. Take a deep breath and say silently, "I am trying." That is enough for now. This small act of kindness can become a seed of healing that grows in your heart. You may wonder, what if I keep failing? What if I always feel this way? The Zen answer is that life is change. No feeling is permanent. Just as the seasons turn and the stars rise and fall, your feelings will also pass. And in the space that remains, behind the cloud of feeling worthless, shines the light of your true worth. Consider now the idea that worth is not a fixed point, but a river flowing throughout your life. Some days the river is clear and bright. Other days it may be muddy and slow, but it is always moving, always alive. When you accept this flow, you learn to be with yourself, even on the hardest days, with patience and respect. Let me remind you again, your self-judgment is only one voice among many. It does not represent the whole truth of who you are. When that voice rises, meet it with curiosity. Ask it, "Why do you say this?" Listen without anger. And then, gently remind yourself of another voice, the voice that says, "You are loved, you are enough, you are worthy beyond measure." In a quiet moment, close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. The breath is your anchor to the present, the truth that you exist here and now. Each breath says, "You are alive. You are part of this world." With every inhale, let the feeling of your life grow stronger. With every exhale, release the self-judgment that no longer serves you. You might find it helpful to call this self-judgment by a name. Perhaps the inner critic or the harsh voice. When you give it a name, you distance yourself from it. It becomes something outside of you that you can observe rather than be swept away by. And when you observe without judgment, you begin to understand that this critical voice is trying to protect you in its own clumsy way. It may have formed to keep you safe, pushing you to do better or warning you against harm. But now, it has become out of balance, hurting more than helping. Your task is to restore balance, neither suppressing the voice nor letting it control you, but holding it gently in awareness. Many Zen stories tell of masters who sat silently through storms, not because the storm was not powerful, but because they understood its nature. Like the storm, self-judgment will pass if you remain unmoved at your center. Your center is always there, calm, still, and clear. Remember, you are not alone in this experience. Every person, no matter how strong or successful they appear, wrestles with doubt and judging thoughts at times. It is part of being human. What matters is how you meet these moments. With the teachings of Buddhism and the practice of mindfulness, you grow stronger, more patient, and more loving toward yourself. So, take heart. The illusion of self-judgment is powerful, but your true nature is more powerful still. You do not have to believe the harsh stories your mind tells. There is always another story. A story of kindness, growth, and deep, unconditional worth. As you walk this path, may you find the courage to look at yourself with the same loving eyes you would give to a dear friend. May you listen to your heart's quiet wisdom, And may you slowly but surely shed the chains of worthlessness to uncover the shining light of your true self. In this way, the journey continues, one breath, one moment, one gentle step at a time. Would you like me to proceed now with part 3 in the same style and length? The mind often feels like a restless traveler, wandering through endless thoughts and worries. Among these thoughts, none is more heavy or painful than the voice inside that says, "You are not enough." This voice, the harsh judge within, convinces many that they are less than worthy, less than whole, and less than deserving of love or happiness. But this judgment, this cruel inner whisper, is not the truth. It is a story created by the mind, a veil that hides the true value beneath. Imagine sitting quietly by a flowing river. Watch how the water moves, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, carrying leaves and twigs along its path. Your thoughts are like this river, always moving, always changing. Instead of jumping into the current and getting swept away by the rushing waters of self-criticism, sit on the riverbank and watch. Simply observe your thoughts without grabbing onto them or trying to stop them. In Buddhism, there is a teaching called anatta, or no self. It reminds us that the fixed image we hold of ourselves, the critic, the failures, the achievements, is not who we truly are. Like water, our true nature is fluid, ever-changing, and deeply connected to everything around us. When we cling tightly to the idea of who we think we must be, we close ourselves off from freedom and peace. We build walls around our hearts that block out joy and light. A Zen story tells of a student troubled by feelings of failure and worthlessness. He approached his master and confessed his pain. The master broke a simple clay pot and said, "This pot is broken, but it is still clay. You are not your mistakes. You are the clay, ever-changing and full of potential." This teaching helps us see that worthlessness is not who we are. It is only a thought we can change. Why does the mind create these painful stories? Often, it is because we have absorbed messages from the world that say worth comes from achievement, appearance, or comparison. But these messages are like mirages. They look real but are empty and deceptive. Buddhism encourages us to look beyond these illusions through a practice called vipassana, or clear seeing. We learn to carefully examine the roots of our suffering and understand that self-judgment arises from fear and misunderstanding. Practicing mindfulness allows us to face our inner critic with kindness and curiosity, rather than fear or anger. When the harsh voice arises, we ask, "Why are you saying this? What are you afraid of?" Holding this voice gently in awareness begins to dissolve its power. We learn that this voice is only one part of our mind, not the whole story. The Zen master often says, "Do not believe everything your mind tells you. It is like a mischievous child making up stories. Watch it, smile at it, but do not let it drive your life." When we cultivate enough silence and stillness within, the mind slows down and the gentle voice of our true self emerges. This voice reminds us of our infinite worth and the compassion we deserve. Outside of judgment, comparisons, and harsh stories, our lives are miracles. Just being alive, breathing, and feeling is more than enough. We don't need to prove ourselves to anyone. Our presence alone carries value and meaning. Many hide these painful feelings, the secret voice telling them they are unworthy of love and kindness. But Buddha's wisdom teaches that every being has Buddha nature, the potential to awaken, to love, and to find peace. This nature doesn't depend on accomplishments or approval. It is our true essence. Freedom from the illusion of self-judgment comes one gentle step at a time. When the thought, "I am not enough," rises, pause and breathe. Silently tell yourself, "I am trying, and that is enough for now." This small act of kindness becomes a seed of healing, slowly growing within your heart. Feelings of worthlessness may return, but remember that like the seasons, all feelings change and pass. Behind the cloud of doubt shines the light of your true value, always present. Think of your worth as a river, sometimes clear and bright, sometimes muddy and slow, but always flowing, always alive. Accepting this flow, we learn to be patient and gentle with ourselves, even in difficult moments. Naming your self-judgment as the inner critic can help you separate from it. When you observe it as something outside yourself, you gain power over it and reduce its control. This critical voice often tries to protect you, pushing you towards safety or growth in its own flawed way. Your task is to balance this voice, neither suppressing nor obeying it, but holding it with friendly awareness. Zen teaches that storms of tough emotions are temporary. Like the master who sits calmly as a storm passes, you too can stand in your center, calm and clear, unshaken by passing judgments. Know you are not alone. Everyone battles doubt and unkind thoughts. What matters is how we face these moments. With mindfulness, patience, and compassion, building strength and love inside. The illusion that you are worthless is strong, but your true nature is stronger. Don't believe the harsh stories your mind tells. There is always another story. A story of kindness, growth, and deep, unchanging worth. When you look at yourself, try to see through the eyes of a loving friend. Listen to your heart's quiet voice, and slowly shed the chains of self-judgment to reveal the shining light inside. This is the path, one breath, one moment, one gentle step at a time. In this journey of life, many find themselves caught in a silent and unending struggle. A struggle not against others, but against themselves. This struggle begins when the mind starts to compare. The simple act of comparing, which may seem harmless at first, becomes a great chain that holds the heart captive and dims the light within. You may not even realize how deeply comparison shapes your sense of who you are until you pause and look carefully. To compare means to measure yourself against something else. Perhaps it is a friend, a neighbor, a coworker, or even someone you meet only once, but whose life shines brightly on the surface. Whether in success, beauty, kindness, or any number of traits you long for, the mind whispers quietly, or sometimes loudly, that you are less, that you have not done enough, or that you are missing something essential. And as this whisper grows, so does the pain. But the Zen teaches us to understand the true nature of comparison. Like the moon reflected in water, comparisons are only images, fleeting, changing, and not real in themselves. The moon is not trapped by the water's reflection, and neither are you bound by the image the mind creates when it compares. Imagine for a moment two trees growing side by side. One may have tall branches that reach fiercely toward the sky, while the other may bow gracefully with delicate leaves. If the bowed tree envies the tall one and wishes to be tall itself, it misses the quiet beauty and strength it holds as its own. Both trees exist perfectly as they are, each one serving a purpose, each one alive and thriving in its unique way. So it is with each human life. The uniqueness is not a lack but a gift. Every time you compare, something precious is lost, your own presence and peace. You lose the moment because your mind is busy elsewhere, counting wins and losses, weighing worth by external or imagined standards. This is the thief of joy, the silent enemy of self-love. From the teachings of the Buddha comes a clear truth. All things are impermanent and interconnected. This means no one is truly separate or on a fixed pedestal. The achievements you see in another's life are the fruit of their own journey, filled with struggles you may not see. Likewise, your path is yours alone, rich with lessons and blessings unique to you. When you bow your head in comparison, the mind plants a seed of dissatisfaction, and with that seed grows pain and confusion. This is what Buddhism calls dukkha, or suffering. Suffering comes not from things being imperfect or incomplete, but from the way we hold on to those imperfections, clinging, judging, and dividing. The Zen way guides us to see these patterns with gentle clarity. Instead of falling into the trap of comparison, we learn to come back to our breath, to the present moment, and to our own experience. When you pause and breathe deeply, you can see the truth. You are not less or more. You simply are. There is a beautiful story in the Zen tradition about a monk who asked his master, "How can I be free from jealousy and comparison?" The master smiled and pointed to a single flower blooming quietly in the garden. "See this flower," the master said. "It does not try to be the rose or the lotus. It simply blooms as itself, perfectly, fully, without struggle. Your path is like this flower. When you bloom in your own time and way, you are free." Such wisdom teaches us that the roots of comparison lie not in the world outside, but inside the heart. They grow from fear, fear of not being enough, fear of missing out, fear of loneliness or failure. The louder the mind shouts that others are better or more deserving, the smaller you feel. Yet the true work is to quiet that fear with love and understanding. Mindfulness becomes the lantern that lights this dark path. When you notice the urge to compare rising inside, do not fight or judge yourself. Instead, watch it. Observe with curiosity. Why am I feeling this way? What does my heart need in this moment? Often, beneath comparison lies a simple desire to be seen, accepted, and loved. With patience, you begin to offer yourself what you seek: compassion, kindness, and acknowledgement. You tell the parts of yourself that feel less, "You are whole even in your imperfections." This is the beginning of breaking free from mental chains. It is the path towards self-acceptance and peace. Think about how much energy you spend trying to keep up with imagined standards or chasing illusions of perfection. Imagine redirecting even a small part of that energy into nurturing your own heart and mind. What might grow there? What joys might you discover when you allow yourself to simply be, without the heavy burden of comparison? In the teachings of the Buddha, there is the story of the blind men and the elephant. Each man touches a different part of the elephant's body and believes it to be something separate, a wall, a spear, or a snake, because they cannot see the whole. When we compare ourselves to others based only on fragments, achievements, looks, possessions, we misunderstand the vastness of our own being. Your worth is not a single part you see reflected in others. It is the entirety of who you are, constantly growing and changing. The Zen practice invites you to cultivate non-attachment to these comparisons. Non-attachment does not mean indifference or complacency. It means seeing clearly without clinging. It is the freedom to appreciate yourself and others without measuring one against the other. Like waves on the ocean, each life rises and falls in unique patterns, none more valuable than another. This understanding opens the door to true joy, the joy of appreciating your own journey with all its twists, turns, victories, and mistakes. It reminds you that the sparkle of your soul does not dim because someone else shines brightly. In fact, shared light strengthens all lights. When the mind tries to steal your peace by comparing, bring it back gently to the present, to the simple fact that you are here, breathing, alive. Let each breath remind you that you are a part of this world, not less than anyone else, but equally important and loved. It helps to remember that comparison is also a mirror reflecting your deepest wishes and fears. If you find yourself longing to be like another, ask yourself, what is it that I truly desire? Is it love, respect, freedom, or peace? Then turn that desire inward. How can you give these gifts to yourself? The Zen master teaches that self-love is the foundation of all happiness. Without it, every external achievement feels hollow, and every praise rings thin. When you accept yourself fully, with tenderness and acceptance, you begin to see the world differently. Not as a battlefield of competition, but as a garden of abundance where everyone blooms in their own time. This heart-opening perspective dissolves the power of comparison. It replaces it with a peaceful knowing that you have value simply because you exist, and so does everyone else. There is no need for rivalry or struggle because true worth is not a trophy to win, but a light to be discovered within. In time, this practice transforms how you relate to yourself and the world. You become more patient with your flaws, more gentle with your mistakes, and more open to the beauty of your own story. Comparison loses its grip, and peace, like a quiet river, flows freely through your heart. Remember, dear one, that the journey is gentle and slow. You do not need to hurry or force yourself to change overnight. Each day you practice mindfulness. Each moment you choose kindness over judgment. You unravel a little more of the chains that bind you. And even when the old habits return, and they will, because the mind often resists, meet them not with frustration but with curiosity. Smile at the mind's tricks and return to your breath, your body, and your heart, because you are worthy, just as you are. Not because of what you do or how you compare, but because you are alive and present in this vast, mysterious universe. May this truth sink deeply into your heart and guide you toward freedom. Every human heart carries a silent yearning, a deep and often restless desire for happiness, meaning, and connection. This desire is woven into the very fabric of our being, like an invisible thread pulling at us through life's twists and turns. Yet, this thread often leads to unexpected suffering, because the root of many worries, including the feeling of worthlessness, lies in unfulfilled desire. In Buddhist teachings, this desire is called tanha, or craving. It is not just the craving for material things or success. It also includes the craving for approval, for acceptance, for love, and even for identity itself. We crave to be seen, to be valued, to be important. And it is this craving that can trap hearts in endless patterns of dissatisfaction and pain. Imagine holding water in your hands. The water represents your deepest desires. No matter how tightly you try to grasp it, the water slips through your fingers, leaving you empty-handed. In that emptiness, a voice might say, I am worthless because I cannot hold on to what I want. But this emptiness, though it feels like a loss, is actually the space where freedom begins. The Zen master teaches that this fullness of desire is like a flame. It gives light and warmth, but if unchecked, It can burn and destroy. When the mind clings too tightly to what it desires, it tightens the grip on suffering. The desire to prove one's worth, to never fail, to be perfect, becomes a prison. It is important to understand that desire itself is not wrong. Even the Buddha experienced desires and feelings. The key teaching is to recognize when desire becomes attachment. When we grab too tightly and refuse to let go. Attachment blinds us to the present moment and blinds us to the truth of our own worth. Now, let us speak of emptiness, a teaching perhaps misunderstood by many. Emptiness is not a bleak or nihilistic void. It is not meaninglessness. Instead, emptiness in Buddhism means that nothing exists independently or permanently. Everything is connected, shifting, dependent on countless causes and conditions. Like a wave on the ocean, each moment arises, flows, and passes away. When we feel empty, feeling as though we lack worth or purpose, it is often because our minds cling to a fixed idea of who we should be or what we must have. But emptiness invites us to release these fixed ideas and see life as it truly is, fluid, ever-changing, and open. Imagine a pot made of clay. The pot exists because of the shape of the clay, the hands that formed it, the fire that baked it. Without these conditions, there is no pot. Similarly, our sense of self is formed by many parts: thoughts, feelings, body, memories. All arise and fall together. There is no permanent self holding the story of worthlessness or worth. This is liberating news. When you embrace emptiness, the heavy weight of fixed identity begins to soften. The suffering caused by craving for a particular self, perfect, successful, or admired, loses its hold. You discover that your true nature is not tied to these fleeting conditions, but shines quietly beneath them. But how can this be felt in daily life? The Zen way guides us to simple, mindful practices. When desire or feelings of emptiness arise, do not push them away or hold on to them. Instead, watch them as a teacher. Ask, what am I craving? What am I holding on to tightly? And what arises when I let go? You may feel fear or uncertainty when you try to let go. This is natural. The mind resists losing control because it feels vulnerable. But this vulnerability is also the gateway to courage and freedom. Like a bird learning to fly, you must first open your wings and trust the air, though it may seem unknown. Remember the story of the Zen monk who stood at the edge of a great cliff. Terrified yet determined, he took one small step forward. That step was the letting go of attachment to safety and the embracing of emptiness. In that moment, he was free, not bound by fear, not weighed down by desire. Another teaching speaks of a man carrying a heavy load of rice on his back. The weight is unbearable, making every step difficult. When he finally puts down the sack, he stands tall and breathes freely. Similarly, holding on to desire and fixed self-views burdens the heart. Letting go releases the body, mind, and spirit. This empty space within us is also the space where compassion can grow. When we are not trapped by craving or judgment, we can open our hearts to ourselves and others. We see more clearly the shared nature of human struggle and the beauty in imperfection. In many Buddhist stories, the path toward freedom begins when the seeker realizes that chasing after happiness outside of themselves is like chasing a mirage. True happiness arises from within, from understanding emptiness and freeing the heart from craving. When feelings of worthlessness appear, They are often rooted in unmet desire and misunderstood emptiness. The mind tries to fill the void with external things, success, validation, possessions, but these are like trying to fill a leaky cup. The cup, or your heart, needs healing from the inside. In sitting meditation, the breath becomes a guide back to this healing. Each inhale brings in calm. Each exhale releases tension. As you watch your breath gently, you may begin to sense the vastness beneath the surface, the nothing to fear, the open space of being. You may ask, if emptiness means there is no fixed self, then who am I? The answer is simple yet profound. You are the ever-changing observer. You are the flow of life itself, moving and evolving with each moment. This is the essence of Zen practice, being with what is, without clinging or aversion. In surrendering to emptiness, you do not disappear, but become more fully yourself. Not a self trapped in limitations, but a self open to infinite possibilities. This self is not defined by the harsh words of worthless, but is embraced by the quiet understanding of enough as you are. This teaching extends beyond the cushion of meditation into every moment. Meeting others with kindness, accepting imperfections, and walking through the world with a heart unburdened by craving and fear. When the mind whispers, "I am not enough," gently remind it, "I am a wave in the ocean of life. I rise, I fall, and I am whole." Let this thought be a soft refuge from the storms of doubt. Emptiness also invites humility, not as weakness, but as strength. The strength to see beyond the ego's illusions and rest in the natural flow of life. It teaches patience, for true understanding unfolds slowly, moment by moment. As your practice deepens, you may find that desire does not disappear, but becomes clearer and more compassionate. You see what you want without needing to possess it. You feel longing without suffering. This is the heart of Buddhist wisdom, that freedom and peace are found not by changing the outside, but by transforming the inside. Feeling worthless becomes a passing cloud, not a permanent dark sky. The path is gentle and open. With each breath, you return to the present. With each step, you let go a little more. With each moment, you remember that the deepest desire is for connection, and connection begins with yourself. May this teaching touch your heart and help you find the peace and worth that lie beyond desire and emptiness. In the quiet stillness of the morning, when the world is yet calm and the heart is open, it is a good time to listen deeply to the whispers inside and the echoes around us. Among these echoes, there are some that weigh heavily on the soul. Messages from society about who we should be, what we should achieve, how we should look, and whom we should become. These messages are everywhere. In books, in streets, in screens, and in conversations. They create a powerful illusion that shapes much of our sense of worth. But, dear friend, these are false standards. They are not the truth of who you are. They are masks, worn by many but belonging to none. They cover the face of our true nature and hide the bright spirit within. To understand this, imagine a stage hidden by thick curtains. Beyond the curtains is a garden, lush and alive, full of wildflowers, birds, and open sky. The stage is society's expectations, rigid and narrow, telling actors how to move and speak. But the garden is your true self, free and vast beyond measure. The false standards are like those curtains, blocking the view, limiting the heart. Long ago, the Buddha noticed how the world's ways trap people in suffering. When we chase success, beauty, wealth, or approval because society demands them, We are caught in a cycle that feeds on itself. If one moment we are praised, the next moment the praise fades, and we scramble for more. It is an endless chase with no true peace. These societal masks often come disguised as helpful advice or warnings. Be strong, be perfect, be productive, be beautiful. These words press on the chest like heavy stones, and if we believe them too deeply, they squeeze out the lightness of joy and the freedom of being. When you ask yourself, "Am I good enough?" it is often these false standards that answer, and their answer is rarely kind. They tell you, "Not yet. You must improve. You are missing something important." But that voice is the voice of the world's illusion, not the quiet wisdom of your own heart. One story from Zen tradition shows how powerful these masks are. A young monk once wore a beautiful robe and felt proud until an old master said, "You are not your robe." The monk was confused. The master continued, "Do not let what you wear or how others see you cover your true nature. The robe is temporary. Your true self is eternal." In this small teaching lies a big truth. What the world values can change, but what you are is beyond all masks. Every time you let society's expectations decide your worth, your spirit shrinks a little. You measure yourself by achievements, by how many likes you get, by how much money you have, or by the roles you play. You say, "I am only valuable if I do this, if I look like that, if I have that." But this measuring is like trying to catch fish with a net full of holes. It will never hold what you truly are. The Zen way calls us to awaken from this sleepfulness. It invites us to strip away the masks one by one, to reveal the face beneath, a face serene, open, and alive. This awakening is not an easy path. The world often fights to keep its illusions strong, because they give many a sense of control and safety. But true safety is found in truth, in seeing things as they are. In everyday life, the pressure to conform is everywhere. You may feel it in your family, your work, your school, or even in your friendships. It whispers, "You must be like this to be loved." Sometimes you hear it as comparison. "She is smarter, richer, happier." Other times as judgment. "He is better than you. You are flawed." When these voices ring loud, it can feel lonely and painful. You may wonder, "Why am I not enough? Why do I not fit?" This is the mind's way of disguising a deeper truth. It is not about you, but about the confusion and suffering that come from holding on to false images. The Buddha showed us a different way, a way of freedom. It is a way of seeing through the masks and valuing the heart. It is to look beyond surface appearances and recognize the interconnectedness of all beings. In this way, no one is better or worse. Everyone is just walking their own path, unique and precious. You might ask, but how can I live in the world and still be free from these false standards? The answer lies in mindfulness and compassion. When you notice yourself trying to fit into a mold that does not feel right, pause. Take a deep breath and ask, "Is this really who I am? Am I wearing a mask?" In this moment of awareness, you create space to say no to what is false and yes to what is true. You begin to live authentically, not for applause or approval, but for the simple joy of being. Do not be afraid to be different or to walk a path less traveled. The bamboo bends with the wind but does not break. So too can you adapt without losing your root. Your root is your true nature, untouched by false masks and expectations. One practice to shed societal masks is to sit silently each day and reflect. Ask yourself, What parts of me are real? What parts am I pretending? The answer may surprise you and bring tears or laughter. Both are gifts. Tears wash away old pain. Laughter opens the heart. When you begin this practice, know that you will make mistakes and feel uncertain. This is natural. The path to freedom is not straight or smooth. It is winding and often shadowed. But every step taken with honesty brings you closer to peace. Remember deeply, the world's standards are not the measure of your worth. Your value is not tied to how well you fit in or what you achieve. You are valuable simply because you exist, even when you fall short of some ideal, even when others judge or misunderstand. Your heart remains full of light. Light that no mask can hide. This light shines softly, steady and true, ready to warm your days and guide your steps. There is beauty in imperfection, in vulnerability, and in letting go of the need to be perfect. When you accept yourself with all your flaws and strengths, you become whole. And with wholeness comes freedom. Freedom from the chains of judgment, freedom from comparison, and freedom to live fully, sincerely, and kindly. In this freedom, the feeling of worthlessness fades like morning mist, replaced by a gentle knowing. You are enough, you are loved, and you are a unique expression of life itself. Carry this knowing with you, like a lantern in the night. Let it remind you that beneath every mask is a true face, shining with warmth and wisdom. May you walk this path with courage and kindness, unfolding the masks and revealing your beautiful self, step by loving step. It is said long ago, under the great tree that became the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha Gautama sat in deep meditation and discovered a truth that would change the course of life itself. This truth is not wrapped in gold or hidden in distant lands. It is simple, clear, and present for each of us to see. It is the understanding of true value. The value that is not given or taken by the world, but the value that resides deep within every being. Buddha taught not about achievements or appearances, but about the nature of the heart and mind. He saw through the illusions of wealth, power, and fame, recognizing that these are only temporary, like the morning dew on a leaf, beautiful but fleeting. To grasp this teaching on true value, imagine a vast ocean before you. On the surface, the waves rise and fall, sometimes calm, sometimes stormy. These waves are like our external lives. The things we do, the things we own, the praise or criticism we receive. But beneath the waves lies the deep, still ocean, vast, profound, and unchanged. This ocean is your true self, your true value. Buddha said that the qualities that give us lasting worth are kindness, compassion, wisdom, and peace. These qualities do not depend on what the world thinks or on how much we have. They arise from our intention and our practice. When we focus only on what is seen, how much money we have, what others say, or how many accomplishments we gather, we miss the ocean beneath the waves. We miss the quiet strength that can never be taken away. Consider the story of a merchant who traveled far and wide, collecting jewels and treasures. When asked about his greatest treasure, he pointed not to the gold he carried, but to the peaceful smile of his child. The merchant's true wealth was not in possessions, but in love and presence. So too, your true value is found not in things, but in the peace and love you carry within. Buddha's teachings invite us to look closely at how we measure ourselves. Are we counting the number of trophies on a shelf, or the moments we have lived with an open heart? Are we chasing shadows or embracing the present light? We often believe that to be valuable means to be perfect, strong, or always successful. But Buddha showed us a different truth. That value springs from the very ability to be kind in the face of struggle, to be patient with our flaws, and to be present with ourselves and others without judgment. This is why self-compassion is a revolutionary act. In a world that judges harshly and demands much, the act of gently loving yourself is a quiet but powerful rebellion. It is a way of saying, I am valuable not because of what I do, but because I simply am. Buddha's path is not one of self-criticism, but of awakening to the fullness of being. Awakening means seeing clearly, beyond the veils of shame and doubt, to the radiant truth inside. Imagine a lamp placed in a dark room. The lamp does not ask if it is worthy. It simply shines. Similarly, your worth is not something to be earned. It is your natural state, waiting to be seen and accepted. One of Buddha's most well-known teachings is the Four Noble Truths, which begin by acknowledging suffering but end in the promise of the path to its end. When you feel worthless, remember that it is a form of suffering, a cloud that can be lifted through practice and understanding. The path Buddha laid out includes mindfulness, ethical living, and meditation, all tools to help you remember your true value. With mindfulness, you learn to notice the harsh words you say to yourself and soften them. With right action, you treat yourself and others with respect and care. With meditation, you sit with the truth beyond thought, beyond judgment, resting in the peaceful ocean beneath the waves. Buddha also taught about interdependence, the way all beings are connected in a web of life. This means your value is never separate from the value of others. When you recognize the worth in yourself, you begin to see it in others. This awakens compassion, the heart's true language. Compassion is the bridge from isolation to belonging. It reminds us that no matter our struggles or flaws, we are part of the vast human family. This belonging, this connection, is itself a source of deep worth. You might wonder, how do I live this teaching when the world keeps shouting otherwise? The answer is found in small, daily choices. Each time you choose kindness over self-judgment, you honor your true value. Each time you extend forgiveness to yourself or someone else, you clear the fog of doubt. The Buddha's way is gentle and patient. There is no rush, no harsh demand to become perfect overnight. Instead, there is an invitation to unfold slowly, like a flower opening to the sun, revealing its colors with grace. A loved one once told me, "In your darkest moments, remember that the roots grow strongest beneath the soil. When feelings of worthlessness arise, let them be like the soil nurturing new growth rather than a grave for your spirit." True value also means embracing impermanence, not as loss, but as the dance of life. You are changing every moment, and within that change lies freedom. You are not trapped by past mistakes or future fears. You are alive now, and this moment is precious. Buddha's teachings remind us that even the smallest acts of kindness and understanding plant seeds of worth within the heart. A smile, a gentle word, a deep breath, they all weave a fabric of self-love stronger than any judgment. It is also important to remember that value is not measured by comparison. Your worth is not lessened because others shine. Like stars scattered across the night sky, each one glows with its own light. There is room for every star, and there is room for you. Sometimes, the mind tries to tell you that you are alone, invisible, or insignificant. But Buddha's wisdom says you are never separate. You are like a drop in the great ocean, inseparable and precious. As you walk this path, you may face days of doubt and days of clarity. Both are part of the journey. When doubt comes, allow it without fear. When clarity shines, embrace it with gratitude. You are worthy because you are, not because of what you do or do not do, not because of what others think or feel. Your worth is your natural state, like the sky, ever present beyond the clouds. Let this truth be a balm for your heart. When you feel unworthy, pause and return to this teaching. Take a deep breath and know you are loved. You are enough, and you are valuable just as you are. May the Buddha's wisdom guide you gently home to your true self, where peace and worthiness are always waiting. In the gentle silence of the present moment, all things come alive. The soft rustle of leaves, the steady beating of your heart, the quiet rhythm of your breath, all hold the invitation to return to yourself. This invitation is the heart of mindfulness, a beautiful and powerful practice taught by the Buddha and cherished through all the years. Mindfulness is not complicated or distant. It lives inside the simple act of paying attention with kindness. Many people carry heavy burdens of self-doubt, shame, and feelings of worthlessness. These clouds often cover the sky of the mind, making it feel dark and stormy. Yet mindfulness offers a way to open the sky, to watch these clouds pass and reveal clear, bright light underneath. Mindfulness means being fully present with what is, without trying to change, judge, or fix it. It is like sitting beside a flowing stream, watching the water move without trying to stop it. When painful thoughts or feelings come, you greet them with gentle curiosity rather than fear or resistance. You might wonder, how can being mindful help when I feel so low, so unworthy? The answer lies in the healing power of presence. When we give ourselves the gift of attention without harshness, we begin to break the cycle of self-judgment. Each moment we practice mindfulness, we weave a thread of peace through the fabric of our inner turmoil. Imagine a young child learning to walk. The child falls many times, but is lovingly supported by a parent who encourages, not criticizes. This is how mindfulness works. It offers you the same gentle support so you can stand up again and again without fear. The Buddha often spoke of mindfulness as a lamp in the darkness. When the mind is clouded by negative thoughts, mindfulness is the light that gently shines, revealing the path ahead. This light does not burn or blind. It warms and guides. To begin this journey, start with your breath. Notice how it flows in and out, steady and sure, the gentle tide within. Your breath is always with you, a constant companion that brings you back to now. When you learn to anchor your attention here, you create a space where worthlessness cannot hold you captive. As you sit quietly, you may find the mind wanders to worries, regrets, or harsh words it has spoken to itself. This is natural and part of being human. Mindfulness teaches us not to fight these thoughts, but to notice them with kindness. You might say, "There is the thought that I am worthless. I see you, and I will take care of you." Through mindfulness, you learn that thoughts are like clouds passing through the sky. They come and go, changing shape, but the sky itself remains vast and clear. This realization can bring great relief because it reminds you, you are not your thoughts. You are the open sky behind them. When you practice regularly, mindfulness also helps you notice the subtle moments of self-kindness. Perhaps a quiet smile, or a softening in your chest when you recall a loving memory, or a slow, deep breath that relaxes the tension. These moments may seem small, but they are powerful seeds of healing. One traditional Zen teaching describes the mind as a wild horse. Without mindfulness, it runs freely, pulling you into chaos. With mindfulness, you become the gentle rider, guiding the horse with calm presence. You may still feel the horse's strength and speed, but you are not pulled away blindly. Mindfulness also opens the door to accepting imperfection. When you are aware, you see clearly that mistakes and flaws are part of life. Not signs of failure, but opportunities for growth and compassion. You may begin to treat yourself with a tenderness once reserved only for others. Consider the story of a woman who felt she was not valuable because of her past mistakes. Through mindfulness, she learned to observe her regrets without shame and to embrace herself fully. Slowly, her heart softened, and she discovered the peaceful truth. Worth is not erased by mistakes. It is woven through every breath, every moment of trying. Mindfulness invites you to bring this same gentle attention to the body. When feelings of worthlessness arise, the body often tightens. The shoulders stiffen, the chest becomes heavy, the breath shortens. By noticing these sensations calmly, you allow them to release naturally. Breath can become a healer, soothing the nervous system and reminding you of life's flow. In the practice of walking meditation, each step is an act of mindfulness. Feel your feet contact the earth, firm and steady. Each movement grounds you in the present moment, reconnecting you to the world and to your own precious life. This simple awareness awakens a deep gratitude for existence itself. Throughout the day, mindfulness acts like a gentle friend whispering, "Come back to now." It helps you avoid getting lost in past regrets or future anxieties, which often fuel feelings of worthlessness. Instead, you learn to rest in the present, where life is vivid and real. Mindfulness is also a doorway to gratitude. When you notice the small wonders, the warmth of sun on your skin, the sound of birds, the taste of food, you begin to see richness and beauty in your life. Gratitude softens the heart and shifts focus from what is lacking to what is abundant. This shift is crucial because worthiness grows in fertile ground. When your mind is filled with kindness and appreciation, there is less space for harsh judgments and doubt. Another powerful aspect of mindfulness is its ability to connect us with others compassionately. When we are mindful of ourselves, we become more mindful of the pain and joy in those around us. We begin to understand that all beings carry their own struggles, and that kindness is a universal language. This understanding dissolves feelings of isolation. You begin to experience belonging, not because you are perfect, but because you are human, just like everyone else. This shared humanity is a source of deep comfort and connection. Mindfulness does not promise an instant cure for feelings of worthlessness. It is a path walked step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment. But with consistent practice, it brings transformation. Like a river carving through stone, mindfulness shapes the heart gently but powerfully. There will be days when the mind returns to old patterns and clouds cover the sky once more. When this happens, remember the lamp. The light of mindfulness never goes out. You only need to turn your attention back and trust the process. The truth is, you are bigger than your thoughts, stronger than your doubts, and more precious than you have imagined. Mindfulness helps you touch this truth in your own experience. In sitting with yourself mindfully, you may begin to hear a quiet voice inside saying, "You are enough." This voice is not loud or demanding, but soft and steady, like a peaceful stream flowing deep beneath the surface. Listening deeply to this voice, you discover the freedom that comes when you stop fighting yourself. You learn to hold your heart with care and to treat your life as a sacred journey, valuable in every step. May your practice of mindfulness be a gentle light on your path, guiding you toward the peace and worthiness that have always been your birthright. May it open your heart so you can live each day fully, freely, and with gentle kindness for yourself and for all beings. In the hustle and bustle of the world, where sounds rise and fall like waves crashing against rocks, it is easy to forget the power of silence. Yet, in the quiet places of our hearts and minds, there is a profound truth waiting patiently to be heard. Silence is not emptiness. Rather, it is a full, deep space where the true value of your being is revealed, not in words or actions, but simply in stillness. When the mind is loud, swirling with thoughts of judgment, comparison, and doubt, the voice of worthlessness can seem shouting and endless. It grows louder amid the noise of daily pressures, expectations, and the voices of others. But have you ever noticed how everything changes when the noise stops? How in a quiet room or a peaceful moment, a new kind of voice arises, a soft, steady presence that speaks gently of peace and belonging. This is the voice of silence, the gentle echo of your true worth. It does not demand or plead. It simply exists, unshaken and clear. Imagine yourself sitting by a calm lake at dawn. The water is still, smooth as glass, reflecting the sky without disturbance. This lake is your heart in silence. When the storm of thoughts and worry settles, the surface becomes clear, revealing not the chaos above, but the depth below. It is here, in this depth, that your true worth is found. Silence is the refuge where you cease the endless struggle to prove your value to the world or to yourself. It is the place where trying stops and just being begins. This being is enough. It holds no burden of achievement, no need for validation. It simply is. Many people live their lives trying to fill the silence with words, distractions, or actions because silence can feel uncomfortable or even frightening at first. It may bring us face to face with feelings we've long buried: fear, sadness, or the whisper of worthlessness. But these feelings, when met with gentle awareness in silence, lose their power. They rise and fall like clouds across an open sky, never permanent, never defining who you truly are. The Zen master teaches that silence is not a void. It is the fertile ground from which insight, love, and healing grow. In silence, we find the space to listen deeply, not just to the world around us, but to the heart within. You may wonder, how do I find this silence? How do I touch this deep place amid the noise of life? The answer is simple, but not always easy. It begins with stillness, sitting quietly, closing your eyes, and resting without judgment or expectation. At first, the mind may resist. It may jump from one worry to another, calling out in confusion. When this happens, do not fight or become frustrated. Greet these movements with kindness and return softly to the breath or the simple awareness of your body. This gentle return is the practice. With time, moments of deep silence become longer and more accessible. The mind begins to calm, and a spaciousness opens inside. A pause between thoughts that is vast and welcoming. In this spaciousness, the feeling of worthlessness is no longer a loud proclamation, but a soft passing cloud. You realize that you are not your thoughts or emotions. You are the silent witness, the steady presence behind them. The power of silence also lies in its ability to reconnect us with what is true beyond our daily struggles. In silence, there is no need to pretend, perform, or prove. You can simply be with yourself exactly as you are. And in this acceptance, your worth shines clearly. There is a beautiful teaching in Zen about the nature of sound and silence. Sound arises and disappears, like a melody played on a flute. The silence between the notes is what gives the music its meaning and beauty. Without silence, there is no music. Similarly, without silence, there is no true understanding of your worth. Many people search outside, to achievements, possessions, or approval, for evidence of their value. But the deepest truth is found inside, in the quiet moments when you stop searching and simply are. Silence teaches patience and gentle waiting. It invites you to rest in the present moment without rushing to fix or label anything. In this resting, the heart softens and a natural sense of calm arises. The journey into silence is also a journey into compassion. When you meet yourself in stillness, flaws and all, with kindness, you begin to release harsh judgments and open to self-love. One story tells of a monk who sat in silence by a frozen river. For many days, he simply watched the river flow beneath the ice, silent, unseen, but alive. Slowly, he understood that beneath every frozen surface, there is movement and life. His own heart, like the river, was full of hidden flow, waiting to be discovered. This discovery is available to you now, in your heart's silence. When you quiet the mind's chatter and meet yourself gently, the bright, steady light of your worth emerges like the sun breaking through clouds. Silence also offers healing for old wounds, the sadness, regrets, and fears buried deep. In silence, these feelings can surface without being overwhelming because they are held in a space of calm presence and acceptance. This healing creates room for new understanding. You may begin to recognize that worthiness is not about earning love or approval, but about accepting yourself completely, even your imperfections. Silence is a teacher, showing us that the root of worthlessness is often a story we have been told or told ourselves repeatedly. When we stop telling the story and listen instead, the story loses its hold. In silence, you become aware of the vastness within, a space where you are free from labels and limits, free from good or bad, worthy or unworthy. Here, you meet the essence of your being, a radiant, peaceful presence always available beneath the surface noise. This essence is like a clear blue sky, vast and unchanging. Weather may come and go, storms of doubt, winds of fear, but the sky remains open and wide. Meeting yourself in this open sky of silence, you begin to realize that worth is not something you must earn or prove. It is your natural state, your birthright. The more time you spend in silence, the more you carry this sense of worth into the busy moments of your life. Silence becomes an anchor, a place to return to when the world becomes loud and overwhelming. It helps to remember that silence does not mean isolation. It is a deeply connected state, connected to your own inner truth and to the vast web of life. In silence, you may even hear the quiet pulse of kindness beating in the heart of the universe. You begin to know, without doubt, that you are beloved simply because you exist. So, when feelings of worthlessness rise, welcome silence as a friend. Sit quietly with your breath. Allow the mind to settle like dust on still water. In this stillness, Know that you are not alone. The silence carries the timeless wisdom of many before you, monks, masters, seekers, who found their worth not in the noise of the world, but in the quiet depths of their being. May silence be your refuge and your guide. May it show you the light of your true value shining through every moment, every breath, every gentle heartbeat. There is a timeless story often told in the quiet halls of Zen, a parable that holds a deep lesson about the nature of the mind and, most importantly, the nature of your worth. It is called the parable of the empty cup, and in its simplicity, it carries the seeds of profound awakening. A learned scholar once sought to understand the secrets of enlightenment. He traveled far and wide until arriving at a teacher known for his deep wisdom. Eager to learn, the scholar told the teacher all he knew, the many books he had read, the philosophies and thoughts he had grasped. The teacher smiled gently and asked the scholar to pour tea. The scholar began filling a cup until it was full, but the teacher said, "Stop." Still, the scholar, without question, continued to pour, overflowing the cup, spilling tea onto the floor. The teacher said softly, "Like this cup, your mind is full. How can I show you anything new unless you first empty your cup? To receive true wisdom, you must first let go of what you think you know." This parable touches the heart of self-worth. How often do we carry so much expectations, judgments, fears, that there is no room left to receive the simple truth of our true value? We fill ourselves with stories of not being good enough, with burdens that do not belong to us, and then wonder why peace feels far away. To truly know your worth, you must empty the cup of these heavy contents. You must release the false stories, the comparisons, the harsh self-criticism. It is not easy, for holding on to these thoughts feels familiar, even safe. Yet like the spilled tea, they cloud your view and prevent you from seeing clearly. Imagine sitting quietly and imagining this cup. What are you pouring into it day by day? Is it doubts? What about fears? Complaints? Expectations? Kindness to yourself? As you notice what fills your cup, ask yourself, is there space left for peace? For love? For the gentle knowing that you are enough? The act of emptying is not about losing or becoming less. It is about creating space to breathe, to grow, to be seen in your true form beyond all masks and mental clutter. When the cup is empty, it becomes a vessel, open and ready to receive. And when you open yourself like this, the truths of your worth begin to shine through not as loud claims, but as quiet, unshakable presence. The Buddhist teachings often echo the wisdom of the empty cup. They remind us to come to each moment with openness and humility, not to cling tightly to the past or what we think we should be, but to allow life to flow freely through us. The mind full of judgments and doubts acts like a blocked river that cannot nourish the earth around it. But an open mind, like an empty cup, allows waters of peace, love, and understanding to flow in and then out again naturally. In our daily lives, this may look like letting go of harsh thoughts when they arise. It means forgiving yourself for mistakes and accepting that growth comes slowly, with many turns. It means not holding on to every failure or flaw as if they define who you are. Opening the cup also means being willing to learn, to step humbly into new experiences, and to see yourself with fresh eyes. You do not have to know everything to be worthy. Your worth is not based on knowledge or perfection, but on your very existence and the kindness you carry. There is profound freedom in this. Imagine no longer trying to fill your cup endlessly, no longer racing to prove yourself or match impossible standards. Instead, you rest softly, inviting peace to settle naturally within. This rest is not weakness but the strength of true confidence, knowing that you are enough just as you are in this very moment. The empty cup reminds us also of the importance of presence. When the cup is full, it is heavy and hard to hold. When it is empty, it is light and easy to carry. In this lightness, you can move through life more freely, more joyfully. Many who walk the path of mindfulness and Zen discover that emptiness is not to be feared but embraced. It is the space from which creativity, compassion, and wisdom arise. To live with an empty cup is to live not attached to outcomes or labels. It is to accept what comes without clinging and to know yourself as fluid and free. When feelings of worthlessness arise, remind yourself of the cup. Notice how much is filling your mind and heart, and then practice the gentle art of letting go, of pouring out what no longer serves you. With each breath, you may imagine the cup becoming lighter and lighter until it is open, ready, and peaceful. In this openness, true self-worth is revealed, not as a thought or an achievement, but as the clear, quiet knowing of your own preciousness. The Zen teacher once said, "The mind is like water. When it is turbulent, it cannot reflect. When it is calm, everything becomes clear." Emptying your cup calms the mind, allowing the radiant reflection of your worth to shine through. Consider that your worth is not a heavy burden to carry, but a delicate flower to nurture with care. The first step in nurturing it is to clear space, to soften the heart, and to set down the weight of endless self-demand. Gradually, as you practice this way of openness, you discover that the cup is never truly empty. It is alive with possibility. Possibility to receive kindness, to give love, to grow in wisdom. And in this growing, your journey becomes lighter, fuller, and more deeply joyful. May you find courage to empty your own cup, creating space to receive the beauty and worth that are your true inheritance. Transforming shame into compassion, inviting a gentle inward journey of healing and self-love. Shame is a quiet visitor in many hearts. It sneaks in without warning and settles deeply, telling stories that weigh heavily on the spirit. "You are not good enough," it whispers softly but persistently. This voice of shame is not just painful, it is isolating, cutting you off from the warmth of connection and the gentle light of self-love. Yet within the teachings of the Buddha and the Zen masters, there lies a path to transform shame into a powerful source of compassion for yourself and others. This transformation is not magic or quick fix. It is a gentle unfolding, a slow, tender way of turning toward your pain with curiosity and warmth. To begin understanding this transformation, it helps to look closely at what shame really is. Shame is the mind's way of protecting itself, a story learned from past hurts, judgments, or disappointments. It is the echo of feeling unseen or unworthy, sometimes carried from childhood, sometimes shaped by harsh words or experiences. Imagine shame as a heavy cloak. It may have once kept you safe in difficult moments, but now it weighs you down, making movement and joy difficult. The cloak is part of you, but it is not the whole story. The first step on this path is awareness. When you feel a flush of shame, instead of turning away or hiding, invite yourself to notice it. Pause and ask, what is this feeling really about? Approach it with gentle curiosity. The Zen way teaches that beginning with kindness eases the grip of shame. When you look at shame with harshness or blame, it tightens its hold. But when met with soft understanding, shame begins to loosen. Imagine holding a frightened child in your arms. The child trembles but cannot speak clearly. Your quiet presence, your warmth, your steady breathing offer safety. In the same way, hold your shame gently. Listen to its fears without judgment. Let it know it is heard and not alone. One story tells of a monk who met a stranger carrying great shame for mistakes he believed defined him. The monk said, "Your shame is a sign of your heart's sensitivity, a reminder that you care deeply. Let compassion heal where judgment has hurt." This teaching reframes shame from a source of pain to a doorway into deeper understanding of yourself and others. Compassion does not mean ignoring or excusing mistakes or difficulties. It means recognizing them honestly, but responding with kindness instead of cruelty. It means replacing the harsh voice of shame with the soft voice of compassion. To practice this, begin by speaking kindly to yourself. When the mind shouts, "I am unworthy," whisper back, "I see your pain, and I am here." Let these words be like gentle rain nourishing a parched heart. Mindfulness supports this practice by creating space between the person and the feeling. You are not your shame. Shame is a visitor passing through. Watching it with kindness frees you from being trapped inside it. This freeing is a profound gift. When you cease to identify fully with shame, you open the door to healing. You learn to accept yourself with all your imperfections and struggles, and you begin to believe in your inherent worth. The Buddha taught that compassion is the heart's true nature. When you turn compassion inward, it naturally flows outward, to family, friends, and even those who have caused pain. This outward flow is powerful. Shame often isolates us, making us feel alone in our suffering. But compassion reconnects. It is the bridge that brings people together in understanding and love. There is a beautiful meditation practice in Zen called loving kindness, or metta. In this practice, you silently repeat wishes of goodwill, not only for others, but especially for yourself. Phrases like, "May I be safe," "May I be happy," "May I be free from suffering." These simple words melt the ice of shame and fill the heart with warmth. Over time, this warm embrace softens old wounds. It reminds you that you are not what you have done or failed at. You are more than your mistakes, more than the harsh stories you've believed. You may find that as you cultivate compassion, shame does not disappear immediately. Sometimes it wakes to be seen again, but each time it is met with kindness, it loses power and retreats a little more. The process is much like the changing seasons. Winter is the time of cold and stillness, but it is necessary for spring's new growth. Shame can feel cold and heavy, but in its presence, new compassion and wisdom begin to blossom. Let us also remember that everyone carries shame. It is a universal visitor, part of the shared human experience. Knowing this can help you feel less isolated. You are not alone in your struggles or in your journey towards self-love. Seeing shame as shared human experience opens the door to empathy for yourself and others. When you treat yourself kindly, you naturally extend that kindness outward, creating a ripple of healing in the world. This ripple is powerful beyond measure. One act of compassion toward yourself or another creates waves that touch many lives. Transformation also involves forgiving yourself. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing, but about freeing the heart from the chains of blame. It is a final act of compassion that allows you to step fully into your worth. The Buddha said, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but by love." This love includes the love we give to ourselves. When you forgive yourself, you invite love to heal deep places of pain and shame. Practicing self-compassion can be challenging. The mind often resists, wanting to hold tight to old judgments. But as the Zen master gently says, patience is the companion on the road to healing. Each moment of kindness toward yourself builds strength. Each breath taken with compassion creates room for peace. Remember, dear one, you are more than your shame. You are the kind heart holding your pain, the gentle voice soothing your doubts, the radiant being deserving of love and respect. May you walk this path with courage and grace. May your heart open wider with each step, transforming shame into the warm light of compassion. There is a quiet dignity that dwells deep within every human heart, an inherent nobility that is not earned or given, but simply exists as part of who you are. This dignity often goes unnoticed beneath the noise of daily life, beneath worries, doubts, and the harsh judgments we sometimes carry. Yet it is there, steady and true, waiting patiently for you to awaken to it. The Zen path invites you lovingly to this awakening, not as a distant goal, but as a present reality. This awakening is a turning of the heart, a deep recognition that your worth is natural and whole, untouched by the ups and downs of circumstance. Imagine the sun rising over a mountain. No matter the clouds that might drift across the sky, the sun's light is always shining, always radiant. So it is with your inherent dignity. No matter the storms inside or outside, your true worth is a light that can never be extinguished. For many, the journey to this awakening begins with noticing the ways we deny our own dignity, perhaps through self-criticism, or by believing the lie that we must prove our value to others before we can accept ourselves. These thoughts are like shadows hiding the bright sun of your true nature. Buddha's teachings gently remind us that dignity does not depend on achievement, beauty, or status. It is not something others can give or take away. Dignity is bonded to existence itself, because to exist is to be worthy. This truth can be hard to remember in a world that often measures worth by success or appearance. But the Zen master says, look within. Your dignity shines softly beneath all masks and fears. In your meditation and quiet moments, begin to sense this dignity. Feel it not as a thought, but as a quiet presence in the body, steady, calm, and sure. It may be felt as a gentle warmth in the chest or a softness around the heart. This presence is the core of your being. When you rest here, you are no longer defined by failures, doubts, or shame. You are seen and embraced as you truly are, a precious and dignified being. The Buddha's awakening was a revelation of this dignity, not just for himself, but for all beings. He understood that the same flame of worthiness burns brightly in everyone, regardless of circumstances. Think of a simple flower in the wild. It does not ask permission to bloom. It does not compare itself to others. It simply unfolds beauty at its own pace, honoring its unique place in the world. Like that flower, your dignity is natural and deserving of reverence. Awakening to this dignity is also an act of courage. It requires turning gently away from harsh self-judgment and opening the heart to acceptance. It means saying, I am enough, even when the mind protests. Each day offers opportunities to practice this awakening. When you catch yourself trapped in negative self-talk or doubt, pause and breathe. Remind yourself of your natural dignity, the quiet, unshakable worth that underlies every moment. This practice is not always easy. Old wounds and fears may make it difficult to accept yourself fully. Sometimes, the mind clings to pain as if it defines you. But the Zen master whispers, step by step, breath by breath, the heart can open wider. As your awareness deepens, you may begin to see your dignity reflected in others. Every person you meet carries this same precious flame, sometimes hidden beneath the surface, but always present. This realization can transform relationships. When you recognize inherent dignity in others, compassion grows naturally. You see beyond surface actions to the shared human experience beneath. Compassion and dignity are partners on the path of awakening. Together, they illuminate the world with kindness and understanding, softening judgments and building bridges of connection. The Zen tradition is rich with teachings on how to nurture this awakening. One practice is to sit quietly and recite silently. I honor my dignity. I honor the dignity of all beings. These words anchor you in truth and remind you of your place in the web of life. Another beautiful teaching is to use the breath as a reminder of dignity. Each inhale brings life and presence. Each exhale releases doubt and fear. With every breath, you return home to your inherent worth. This awakening invites you to live with authenticity and grace. You no longer need to hide parts of yourself or wear masks to be accepted. You stand in the world with quiet strength, knowing that your dignity is independent of external approval. In moments of challenge or confusion, return to this core. Like a deep root that holds a towering tree steady in the wind, your dignity provides stability and peace. The awakening also reveals that dignity coexists with humility. It is not pride or arrogance, but a humble recognition of your shared humanity. It is to stand tall, not above others, but alongside them with respect and love. When you walk this path, your life itself becomes a testament to dignity. Your kindness, your choices, and your presence radiate the truth that you are worthy simply because you are. Others may not always see or acknowledge this worth, but the awakening in your own heart shines beyond need for outside validation. Imagine a golden thread running through your being, connecting every part of you. Your past, your present, your hopes, and your fears. This thread holds your dignity securely, weaving your story with light. When feelings of unworthiness rise, remember this thread. Hold on gently, breathe deeply, and reconnect with the eternal flame within. The Zen master reminds us that dignity is timeless and universal. It is the gift of being alive, the song of the spirit that never falters. May this awakening touch you deeply and carry you with warmth and peace. May you know, in every moment, the sacred dignity that is your birthright. May you live fully, freely, and kindly, honoring your worth and the worth of all beings. Life's journey is a path of transformation. It winds through valleys of doubt and climbs mountains of awakening. Along this path, many have wrestled with the feeling of worthlessness, a heavy fog that dims the heart's light and clouds the mind. Yet, through the gentle teachings of the Buddha and the silent wisdom of Zen, you are invited to step beyond this fog into the radiant light of boundless worth. From worthlessness to boundless worth. It sounds like a long journey, but in many ways, it begins with a single breath. The breath is always here, guiding, grounding, and reminding you that you are alive and precious. When you take a moment to breathe deeply and softly, you open the door to kindness, to acceptance, to peace. Remember the stories and teachings we have shared. The river of thoughts, the empty cup, the quiet lake, and the rising sun. Each story is a thread in the tapestry of your awakening, weaving together a truth that transcends pain and fear. You are enough, just as you are. In this moment, you might still feel the tug of old doubts, the shadows of past failures or harsh judgments. This is natural. The mind clings to familiar patterns, even when they cause suffering. But the Zen master says, do not rush the process. Transformation is not a race, but a gentle unfolding. With patience, compassion, and mindfulness, you begin to loosen these chains. You learn to sit with discomfort without fear, to watch passing thoughts without judgment, and to open your heart despite vulnerability. This opening reveals a deeper truth, that your worth is not tied to achievement, approval, or comparison. Your worth is inherent, eternal, and unconditional. Imagine your worth as an ocean, vast and deep. Storms may arise, waves of self-doubt, fear, or sadness. But beneath the surface, the ocean remains peaceful and strong. No storm can diminish it. You are like this ocean. Beneath every wave of worry and every tide of doubt, your true self is steady and whole. The Buddha taught that all beings possess Buddha nature, the potential for awakening, compassion, and peace. This nature is not hidden or lost. It is simply waiting to be discovered beneath layers of false beliefs and suffering. Awakening to this nature is the greatest gift you can give yourself. It is the discovery of a worth that transcends conditions, a light that never dims. This awakening calls you to live fully, with courage, authenticity, and kindness. No longer shackled by feelings of unworthiness, you step into your life as a bright and unique expression of the universe. As you walk this path, you become a beacon for others. Your light encourages those still lost in darkness, showing them that transformation is possible. This is the heart of the Zen teaching, that your value is not only personal but universal. When you awaken to your worth, you awaken to the worth in all beings. Compassion blossoms, binding us in a shared journey toward peace. In practicing compassion, forgiveness, and mindfulness, you heal not only yourself but the world around you. You become a living testament to the power of kindness and truth. Remember the importance of gentle encouragement, the soft voice inside that says, "You are enough." Nurture this voice daily through meditation, mindful breathing, and loving actions. When you stumble or feel despair, return to the breath. Let it anchor you, remind you, and carry you forward. And when the world feels heavy, remember you are part of a larger web, connected, cherished, and never alone. There is a powerful truth in knowing that countless others have walked this same path. Walked from darkness into light, from doubt into faith, from worthlessness into boundless worth. You are in this lineage. Your journey matters. Your life matters. Though this is the final part of our shared exploration, know that your awakening is ongoing. Each day gifts new chances to practice kindness to yourself, to deepen your understanding, and to live with open-hearted courage. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support keeps this light shining, helping others find their own path to worth and peace. As you close this chapter, take a moment to breathe in deeply, embracing all that you are. Feel the warmth of the earth beneath you, the air around you, and the steady beat of your heart. You are not your fears or doubts. You are the peace behind them. You are not your mistakes or regrets. You are the light moving through them. You are worthy beyond measure. You are loved beyond words. May this truth live in your heart and guide your steps today and always. May you walk gently in your own worth, carrying kindness like a sacred flame. And may you shine brightly, a beacon of hope and peace in the world. From worthlessness to boundless worth, the journey is yours to embrace, and it is beautiful beyond words.